In year 3. Today we're going to be looking in the main part of the lesson at the 3 times table, which will build on the multiplication and division work you've done over the previous days. And in the other part of the lesson, which I lead for you now, we're going to be thinking about counting vertices on 2D shapes. Now, with maths, it's really important that we learn our correct vocabulary. And it's not just picky old teachers like me whose hair's getting increasingly confused, moaning at you. It's basically that if we speak in the same language, we can understand what we're talking about. So if you were somewhere else and you were talking about sides of a 2D shape, people might understand what you meant, or corners of a 2D shape. However, if you talk about vertices, they know you're precise, that you mean those points where 2 sides meet. Okay, so we might think of them as corners sometimes. It's the same when we're looking at multiplication. Rather than talking about a number multiplied by a number equals a number, we talk about a factor multiplied by a factor equals a product. Clear language is important then in maths, and we're talking today about our vertices on 2D shapes. So if we look at these, we can think of vertices as part of the understanding of our language, but we're going to initially look at which of these shapes has which number of sides. So you could see the blue, the orange, the red, and the circle. And the green. So the square, the triangle, the octagon, and the circle. How many sides does each one have? Pause it if you need to. And you can see now we've got 4, 3, 8 and 1 curved side with our circle at the end. So we've seen the number of sides they've got. Now what we're going to look at is with these other shapes, this pentagon, this hexagon, and this oblong or rectangle, we're going to see the number of sides, then a number of vertices. So that's our synonym for corners, but it's our more mathematical term for corners, and then the name of the shape. I've just given you the names. If you know them, great. If you can write this down, great. If you just want to do it in your head, that's fine as well. It's about understanding the relationship between the sides and the vertices of these different shapes. Pause it if you want to have a think through that. If you've managed to do that, great. You've spotted that our pentagon has 5 sides and 5 vertices. Our hexagon has 6 sides and 6 vertices. And finally, our rectangle, which is our irregular quadrilateral due to the fact that the sides aren't all the same length. Our rectangle has 4 sides and 4 vertices. Okay, so we can see those points where the sides meet are the vertices. Okay. One of these shapes is different to the other ones. So count the number of vertices, count the number of sides, and see if you can identify whether it's the blue, the orange, or the purple that's the odd one out. Pause your video if you need to. Okie dokie, guys. Hopefully you've spotted that it is that hexagon in the middle, the 6-sided shape that we can see is different. Okay, now we've got 3 shapes here, a purple, a blue, and a green. What I'd like you to do is identify how many vertices the purple has, how many vertices the blue has, and how many vertices the green has. So thinking about that word, which means the point where the sides meet the vertices, how many of the vertices does each of these shapes have? Pause the video if you need to. Okay, and hopefully now we've spotted that the purple has 4, the blue octagon has 8, and the irregular hexagon has 6. Okay, so we've seen those number of vertices for each of those shapes. Okay. Now, this shape, this is a fact about this shape, has the same number of vertices as a triangle and a pentagon added together. So what you've got to think about is how many vertices would a 3-sided triangle have, and how many vertices would a 5-sided pentagon have. Once you've got those 2 values, you add them together and you identify the sum of those 2 values, and that's your number of sides for the shape that you're looking for. So hopefully you spotted a triangle has 3 vertices. A pentagon, because it's got 5 sides, has 5 vertices. So you know now you're adding 3 to 5, and all of you are doing that straight away, shouting at me that that's well done, Tyrese. It's 8 sides. Oh, sorry, 8 vertices. Now, if you're looking for a shape here that's got 8 vertices, you're looking for a shape which has also got 8 sides. So you're looking for an octagon, whether it's regular or irregular, we'll spot in a second. But it's the octagon, which is the middle shape. It's irregular because the sides are of different lengths. But we can see, therefore, it's the octagon, which is the correct answer. Well done for working through those. Let's have a quick look at Chan and Jal before we move on. Now, we can see that they've got to identify how many vertices they each have. Okay, so he's got the most. Chan's got a circle, an octagon, and an irregular pentagon. Jal has a pentagon, a triangle, and a trapezium. So see if you can identify which one has the more greater. So Chan's adding 1 to 8 to 5, so 1 plus 8 plus 5. Jal is adding 5 to 3 to 4. And then hopefully you spotted that the correct answer was Chan. Okay, you can see that Chan has slightly more than Jal, one more than that. Okay, right, guys. A little bit of a task now, where I ask you to pause the video and look at the sheet. So pause the video, please. Having a go at which of these sheets, which of these are correct for the 7 questions. So where you're matching the shapes to the correct number of vertices, and then name the shape for the clue that you're given for the 8 questions. Moving on now to the second part of this for 9A and 9B. If you can draw it, if you can draw the table, that'd be great. If you don't have, if you're not lucky enough to have a ruler, see if you can find something at home. It might be a little card. It might be something like that, which you can hopefully use with a hard edge to draw a straight line. It's good practice to get into. You never know. I might come and haunt you in year 4 next year. And if you've got a grumpy teacher like me, you need straight lines. Okay, so see if you can draw a lovely table there for 9A and 9B. And then if you can identify which one's the odd one out for the questions 10. Pause the video whilst you're doing that. Okie dokie, guys. Looking at question 7, we can see that it's A is 5, B is 8, and C, the triangle, has 3. For question 7B, we can see that it's 4 for that trapezium, 6 for that hexagon, and 5 for that irregular pentagon. Then if you look at the shapes at the bottom, we can see that it's an octagon because it would be 8 sides, which is double 4 for a rectangle. And an octagon has 8, therefore 3 fewer would be 5, so it's going to be a pentagon for the second, for 8B. And then we expect a picture of a hexagon, so a 6-sided shape, which has 6 vertices, and it's called a hexagon. And then we've got our octagon, so an 8-sided shape for the second part of 9A. A picture of a pentagon, so 5-sided shapes, and a quadrilateral, any old quadrilateral we could have. Hopefully, some of us might have thought of a square or an irregular one, such as a rectangle, or maybe just an irregular one that looks all funky. Very interesting ones. For 10A, the odd one out is A, and we can see that's the odd one out due to the number of vertices being 5. And for 10B, we can see it's B due to the fact it doesn't have the same number of vertices as C and A. Okay, well done for working through that. The main part of your lesson is going to be looking at the 3 times table. You're going to have a sheet which looks like this to complete, either on the sheet or in a book at home. And if you just have a quick look at this question, you are asked to identify which is greater than, less than, equal to. And with that, if you try and work out the value of it rather than just doing it in your head, then it really helps you practice and finesse that skill. So if you can try and actually work out the value of each side of the, it's actually an equation. I don't want to use that word for you because some year 6s get worried about that word. But if you have a go at working through the equation, each side of it, then you can understand what value is worth. Okay. Well done, year 3. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.